Thank you guys so much for joining me today for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I am excited about my next guest. Jay and I are actually business partners of some sort. We both are a part of Send Out Cards, which is how we met, and we did a podcast last year. So I'm excited to have him here to kind of catch up, see what he's up to, because Send Out Cards is one of his many talents. He also is a realtor in the area where he lives. So we'll get into some of that later. But he is a great thought leader and influencer. So I am honored to be in his presence because he has so many great insights that can help you start living that life the way that you want to, accomplishing those goals as we're at the beginning of the year. So I challenge you as he introduces himself to go get a notebook and a pen so you can take some notes to start implementing some of these great insights that he has. So before we get into the interview, Jay, take it away and let us know a little bit about you.
Thanks very much, Supermom. I love that little name. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm just regular Joe, regular Jay, as I call myself. Was passionate about learning, and the more you learn, the more you earn. The more you earn, the more you can donate to charitable causes and give time away freely without worrying about the monthly bills, etc. And knowledge is power. I don't believe in that. Knowledge is powerful if it's applied. That's what I believe in. Most times people who have a lot of knowledge, they're sitting in the basement, they're sitting in their bedroom, they're shy, they're introverted, and they're not using it, whether it's out there in the general public or just out there in the internet world. Is that if you're not exercising your knowledge, you're pretty much a neutral. And what I love to do is take what I've learned, put it in my own way, and then help others that might need a little kick, little push, a little insight as to what might not be working. And that's what I get big joy out every single day. I was just on a quick phone call. I didn't want to be late for this phone call. I'm always early. And I told the guy, I got 10 minutes for you. This 10-minute golden nugget is work on your presentation, work on handling objections, anticipate what your buyers or sellers might be asking you, and then role play it so that you can master it. And he was in awe with the 10-minute coaching session I gave him. And I said, if you've had 13 offers and you've gotten zero, I'd rather see you have 6 offers and get 4 under agreement. And the way to do that is to have better communication skills with your buyers and sellers. Therefore, you're not an order taker, but you're a consultant in that field that they're looking for that expert in to get them the result that they want. And that's something that over the years that I've learned that we're all solving problems. And if you can narrow down the problem that you're solving for your client, your family member, your friend, then you'll be better served by yourself, knowing that you helped and got a result instead of wasting time and looking around and having excuses for every Tom, Dick, and Harry thing out there. It's not Corona. It's not the government. It's not the politics. It's probably the person who's looking in the mirror that can improve his or her skill to have a better 2021 than 2020.
I love that. And I love the fact that, you are able to implement the strategies of coaching regardless of the time frame. So
Yes.
talk to us about how you're able to do that because so many people, they one don't have the clarity of what their schedule is to know how much time they have. And then it's like they have this time but not efficient about what they want to accomplish from a conversation. So talk to us about how you got that clarity and how you're able to implement that every day.
Great question. Most people who are entrepreneurs, they're competitive in nature. Whether it's a scoreboard or whether it's a trophy or whether it's a trip, they're competitive in nature. And one of the things we all have is 86,400 seconds in a day. And what we do with those 86,400 seconds can determine whether we're average, above average, or extraordinary. And what happens is that people don't role play enough. They think they have to sit down, have a coach, have a webcast, have a Zoom, have a Google Meet, and have their cup of coffee. And now I'm ready. Let's role play. You should role play when you're at the drugstore. You should role play when you're in the shower. Now you're consuming that end time or that dead time, and you're doing more in that 86,400 seconds in that day. 7 days from today, you'll be better off than you were 14 days ago because you implemented this strategy. And, I love learning from general activities. When you go to a restaurant, when you go to a department store, you can see the difference where there's some department stores, some coffee houses that have instructed their employees to be extraordinary because it is very competitive. And then there are others that are just, whatever. And you ask yourself, will that place be in business in a year from now? And that place is fighting the storm, but they will be in business a year from now. And that's what you can learn from in a day to day fashion without having to pay thousands of dollars for a coach. Is just be aware. We've heard the saying, common sense is not all that common. That's
Mhm.
true. And our society has gotten away from simple please and thank yous and handshaking and eye contact and complimenting. And it's free. It's free to be nice.
I
Go be
love it.
nice. Go be nice.
That's good. So, when let's just say, with your coaching and helping people to kind of get that clarity and confidence in what it is that they do, how do you navigate through empowering them, or inspiring them? Because we can give them formulas, we could talk to them about role play, but for them to actually take action, it's from empowerment or inspiration. So, how do you accomplish that?
It's a great question. Sometimes people say I'm the kindest person they ever met, and other times people say you're a bully. And I get frustrated because maybe I'm not reading my audience who are making those comments, and it can be disenchanting, it can be disappointing. But the reality is, if it's to be, it's up to me.
Mhm.
And lots of people will shake their head saying, yes, I want that. But inside they're saying, I'll never do that. And that's fine. And that's why you, as a leader, a thought provoking leader, you can't force somebody until they're ready, but you can continue to give the information and give the suggestions and give um, the examples of.
Mhm.
I have one gentleman who has doubled his business by listening to me, and I use him as an example right now because he struggled. He was still working part time, and I said, "You're never going to get the level you want because your part time job is taking you away from growing your real estate space." Now he left his job. He bought his first home. He doubled his income. He has more business coming in because he listened to me, even though I might have been a tough military coach. He
Mhm.
could handle it. And now he's thankful for it.
Mhm.
And he is 30 years of age with the whole, 30 years of life in front of him, knowing that he did what was not comfortable, which was going against mom and dad, going against all the real estate space. You're only on commission. Things can change. And he listened to all that negativity. But then when he finally switched and believed in me, and we got him to leave his job, and he added an extra 30 great hours of working in the real estate space, he found that he could double his business, buy a house, and feel a lot more comfortable knowing that he's living the life that he could. Now, that's just one example. But if I come across people who are still Debbie Downers, I can say, here's an example of what this man did, and you can do the same thing. Mirror the people who are successful, and you cannot not become successful. But yield off of many of the things that he or she did, then you'll be back in the place that you were. You're just picking and choosing what's comfortable. Brian Tracy, Eat the Frog, great little book. He tells me it's his best selling book. Eat the Frog basically says do the difficult tasks at the beginning of the day and then the easier ones at the end of the day. And
Mhm.
90% of people do what?
Do
They do
the
the
easy
easiest
stuff
things.
first and to put off the difficult
And
for days and days.
the difficult ones might be the more profitable ones, you
Mhm.
know? And therefore you're doing 7 easy tasks and you're broke. And the three that would have made you money, you didn't get to. But if you did the four difficult tasks, you would have enough money to pay someone to do the menial tasks. And again, it's a mindset,
Mhm.
and it's an actionable thing. And
Mhm.
then role playing doesn't get you a result tomorrow. But I guess this, if you role play every single day for the next 60 days, you'll call me up and say, "You're absolutely right, Jay. I feel more confident. I have a better communication with my family and friends, and I'm able to handle objections without saying, to be honest with you, all these words that I teach people not to say because they're filler words, they're weak words, they're ambiguous words, um, they're words that don't showcase your confidence. Okay, now you practice what I just said, get rid of all those bad words. And then when you meet with somebody, "Hi, my name is Jay. Yours is?" "Great. What can I get you information on?" "Great. Here's a listing sheet. Here's a mortgage sheet. Due to Corona, we can stay 6 feet apart, but feel free to run through the house and call on me with any questions." Not difficult. But if someone were to role play that and own that when they're at their next listing appointment, buyer appointment, general appointment, and they just have that in their head, they're going to be more confident to say that. Anyway, I mean, it's just one little piece
Love
of
that.
how people can improve and take it to whatever industry he or she might be in.
Mhm.
They'll start to see better results, and then they can make more money, make more donations, give more
Mhm.
charitable time away, spend more time with their kids and their wife, their spouse, their husbands, because they know there's a pipeline of business coming in because they confronted that fear, they ate that frog,
Mhm.
and they became a better communicator in life and in business.
I love that. And that role playing, for me, it sounds like you're saying when you learn something new, that the role playing is the implementation and the practice that
Mhm.
you're doing in order for you to make it your own and not so much positioning yourself to be just like the person that gave you the information. You're
100%, 100% correct. I like using this example. If you and I are friends, which we are, and we have a gentleman's bet who's a better golfer, practicing 1 hour a day for 30 days.
Mhm,
Oh, by the way, I'm a 9 handicap and you're a beginner golfer. The
mhm,
audience will say, "Well, you are, Jay, because you obviously started as a 9 handicap." And I say, "Well, not necessarily. See, I practice 1 hour a day with 9 handicappers. I became better at being a 9 handicapper. Meanwhile, Supermom, she hired Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods instructed her, taught her, trained her with 1 hour a day how to become a scratch golfer. And after 30 days, you beat my butt
mhm,
because you practice the right things and characteristics to become a great golfer. I seemingly so was practicing 1 hour a day and I was ahead of you, but I was practicing the same things to stay at a 9 handicap golfer. And
love that
in
analogy.
life, I think that's what happens is that people don't push themselves for fear of skinning their knees, skinning their elbows, being
Mhm,
reprimanded, being laughed at. I mean, look at yourself, how you built this channel as America's Supermom.
mhm,
When 5 years ago you didn't have the talent or the wherewithal to do it, you just did it. Now you have millions of people tuning into you on different social media platforms. Congratulations.
thank you.
That is because you're practicing the correct behaviors to become a thought leader in the social media space, as opposed to someone just saying, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it next week. I'm going to buy Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels. I'm going to subscribe to Tony Robbins." Those are all great things, but you guess what? You did it. They didn't. And that's why you are where you are. And that's why they are still where they are.
Hmm. Love that. Now, and so, let's go back to the situation with being a realtor during these times and, how everybody has their own opinion about, what real estate means in this day and age with COVID, social distancing, and things of that nature. So, talk to those realtors who may be watching that are kind of discouraged with the industry, maybe where they're located or things like that, some creative strategies that can empower them to think how they can use their expertise and skills to reinvent themselves, so to speak, in 2021.
Great question. Most of it is activity. If you need to 10x your activity, my good friend Grant Cardone, do it. Because while you're 10xing your activity, you're separating yourself from your competition who is focusing on the water cooler, the doom and gloom, and whatever else might be coming at them. For instance, I do believe there's a recession coming, which means prepare yourself for getting lots of listings when sellers will say, I could have gotten 500,000 last year, Jay, and now you're telling me it's worth 460. I'm preparing myself to have that conversation to handle that objection because it is coming. It is coming. On the flip side, a buyer is losing out on offers and a second place pays the same as 16th. If you're not first, you're last. When I talk to a buyer, how much are you willing to lose this house for? And if they don't understand it, I have to educate them, not to mislead them, but tell them, my opinion, and that's what you're asking me, is that this home is on for 400 and you can see all the people around here and there will be multiple offers. If you're willing to pay 450 for it, pay it because two things can happen. Either the appraisal will knock it down or the home inspection will reveal problems that you can negotiate down. But if you come in second, you don't get that opportunity and you're back out in the market. Now, I've practiced this, I've rehearsed this, I believe in it, and I'm giving you a quick slant of it.
Mhm.
But how many realtors have discussed that with themselves, practice with a team member, or they just go out live and practice on a live buyer, and the live buyer has a little trepidation to believe in you because it's the first time you're saying it and you're mixing it up and to be honest with you, honestly, so what do you think? Like maybe we should think about it, sleep on it. All those things show average. All those things are showing second place. Pays the same as 16th. If you're not first, you're last. They're counting on you to direct them to get a result. Anyway, not to get too much in the real estate space.
I like
Those,
that. That's good though.
those
I'm
are
gonna be taking
examples.
some notes.
Those are examples what realtors can be doing today
Right.
is that there's going to be a plethora of activity, whether it's more sellers or more buyers or more challenges. And you have to anticipate that. It's another skill that Grant Cardone taught me is that the best entertainers, athletes, business people anticipate. We'll talk about Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky, two famous athletes. They anticipated the next play. They anticipated where the puck was going to go. They anticipated potentially what might happen coming down the right hand side and taking a 3-pointer as opposed to a 2-pointer. And that's why they're the great ones. In our real estate space, in our life space, anticipate, role play to understand. I say this all the time to real estate agents. What are the two things that most sellers want to know? What's the commission? What's the price? Most amateur real estate agents are afraid to talk about that until the end of the presentation. Then the seller's sitting there with bated breath, just waiting for that. Are you making them happy or sad? If you do that, rather approach it, tell them about it, and explain, should we continue? Great, let me continue. And we'll get back to the price and the commission, and we have options. Okay, that sounds fair. But if you anticipate that that's the two most important things that a seller is interested in, and someone can argue with me by saying that's not true, Jay, blah, 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 blah. I'm not interested in that. I'm saying this is a quick example of the question that you asked. And for the buyers, what is the most important question? How many homes have you sold? And what can you do for me to get a good result? Well, anticipate those questions as a buyer's agent and put them at ease as to what you bring to the table. That you've bought houses, that you've sold 1,000 houses, that your company sells $1 billion worth of sales, that my wife and I have 375 agents. Anticipate that. Therefore, you're not going into a book and saying, here's the information and I'm going to send it over to you in a PDF. And now you relieve that buyer from some trepidation.
I
And that's
love that.
that's what agents can be working on during this quiet winter time where before the spring picks up and the summer and the fall picks up around the country. I mean, each local area can have their hot spots.
Mhm.
But if an anticipation from a realtor knows what he or she is going to have in the next 4 to 6 weeks, why aren't you practicing that? Why aren't you improving on that skill? Because you can. And if you do, you'll be better off than if you don't.
I love that. That's just really good. So, you have honed it down to, really kind of examining those things that you may or may not be weak at, and then you mentioned, being able to get the insight from some of our thought leaders and influencers, like Grant Cardone.
Mhm.
So, in the presence of people who may be watching, you do have that opportunity to get that insight. How do you get the courage to ask the hard questions? Because a lot of times people can attach their how they're looking or feeling with the question they ask. So, it's like, oh, if I ask about money, they're going to think I'm broke when really you're broke. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, you kind of don't want to ask the question because you feel it's all about you rather than getting the information. So, how are you able to get past that? Because I think that might be an issue for a lot of people watching.
It's a great question, and it goes back to the more you learn, the more you earn, and the more you practice, the more comfortable and confident you'll become.
Hmm.
If someone is buying a house and you have not bought a house and you've been in the space 10 years, what's the credibility of that agent? Therefore, you need to buy your own product, whether you're in send out cards, whether you're in Mary Kay, whether you're in real estate. If you're telling and consulting somebody how to buy or sell and you haven't purchased that product, well, your credibility is probably going to be lower. Right. And therefore, you've got to continue to push the envelope, skin the knees, get some bruises, face rejection. My wife says she eats rejection for breakfast. That's great.
Hmm.
Therefore, she removes rejection when she picks up the phone and recruits somebody. And someone says, I'll never come to Leah Real Estate. Not a problem. No means no right now, but doesn't mean forever. And then when they have a bad hair day and they have a bad experience, they're calling Stacy. And Stacy welcomes them, and now they have joined. But
Hmm.
she ate rejection for breakfast and continued the plight. Now, anybody can continue to find whoever their thought leader, whoever is in their industry, find that person who did something similar. I mean, there's plenty of stories where people came over to this country with two nickels, Irish, Mexicans, Asians, Africans, and boom, they made it because they ate rejection for breakfast and they didn't listen to the naysayers. Bring it down to what's more common for people. It's not too difficult to wake up in the morning and sponge your head with an hour of good knowledge content. Don't watch the news. Don't listen to pump up music. Get something, whether it's you, whether it's me, or somebody that's going to fill your brain with an hour of good information and then go out and practice it during the day. Then rinse and repeat and do it again and do it again. You'll be far better off than you were 14 days ago. And then it becomes habitual with us and our send out cards.
Hmm.
I tell people all the time how many cards I get out, hot fill cards a day. And I said, that's unbelievable. How can you do that?
When we have a little glitch here. These things happen with technology. So I hope you guys are really enjoying Jay. He should be back momentarily. And it's just a testament to these different internet carriers and things of that nature. So we do happen to be on StreamYard, and it is one that I like, but it's just at the end of the day, it allows us to connect with people regardless of the location. So if you have any questions right now, if any of this has resonated with you, I encourage you to connect with us. Put your question in the comments. And Jay is someone who is very passionate about what he does. As you could see with his responses, he's no nonsense. He knows what he is able to deliver because he practices this every day. So I challenge you to think about, what are some things you need to practice? When he says role play, does that sound like a foreign term to you? And so many times we listen to other people's stories and we get intimidated because they have a routine and we just don't ask the questions when really we may find that we're doing the same thing. So I challenge you to think about role playing, for example. Most people are like, oh, I can't do that. That's not really something I do. But role playing is really taking different ideas, thoughts, or something, and or questions and muddling them over and over in your head. So, from somebody who struggled with depression in the past, I knew how to role play, but I was role playing negative things. I was listening to this inner voice that was telling me, you're not doing good today. You're a failure. You didn't accomplish this and that. And so I challenge you to think about man, what kind of practices am I actually participating in every day? And how can I modify those? So Jay has made it back. So we are happy to hear his insights. All right, Jay. Yeah, I don't know how much you were saying, but it cut you off midstream. So,
I apologize for that.
oh, you're good. Not a problem. I was bringing everybody up to speed. So go ahead.
Give me a little tidbit while I refresh my brain.
See what I'm saying is that, changing the atmosphere real quick, okay, the energy. But
I
we
think we,
were,
I think I started to talk about habits. That's it.
yes, that was
And,
it.
and I
Hmm.
started to say that, for instance, we're in the send out card business and we teach people
Hmm.
how to appreciate and how to follow up. In the business side of it, I teach people, I say, you have an opportunity to send out 1, 10, 20 heartfelt cards a day. You're choosing not to
Hmm.
because the limited beliefs in your head. Where if you create good habits, you get great results. Darren Hardy, if you create bad habits, you get bad results. They don't show up today and tomorrow, but they will show up.
Hmm.
And what I've created for myself is that anytime I've had a substantial conversation, text, email, conversation, belly to belly, I make a note to make sure I send a heartfelt card that night, that day, that evening. And what it does, it memorializes the conversation, the email, the belly to belly that no other platform can. We get a text, we get an email, we get a voicemail, we listen to it, we delete it, we move it, we save it. But when you get something 3 to 5 days later that memorializes, includes potentially the subject or the laugh or the update or the reference, that person's going to say, wow, Jay was taking interest in that call, that text, that email, that visit. Hmm. And I look at people and I say, guys, it's not that difficult. If you're taking 15 minutes to send one card, yeah, that's going to eat up 86,400 seconds.
Hmm.
But if you learn our system and you become habitual, let's lose an example. Let's think what's going to happen after I get off this podcast with you. I'm going to send you a card of thanking you for having me on your million view podcast. You'll get that card not today, not tomorrow. It won't be a text, it won't be an email, but Thursday or Friday when you're sitting down having coffee at lunch and the mail person comes and you say, there's Jay doing exactly what he said on Monday. And now memorializing his conversation and his nuggets he shared with me on Monday. I'm sticking in a good way to you, as opposed to what most buyers and sellers, clients feel is that people say one thing and do another thing. So if you're going to give great service to your clients and be habitual by staying top of mind with them, then America's Supermom has a tool for you, right?
Yeah.
And your leaders who sponsored you have a tool for you, but you can't just think about it. You got to put it into action. And that's what I've done. And I find it, one, enjoyable, but two, I never want to be a hypocrite. I'm not going to tell somebody they should, would, or I do, and then not do it.
So true. I mean, because that authenticity is it's golden to have it, but so many people fake it that it
Mhm.
just really messes you up before you even get started, really deeper with you, and it puts a wall up there because people are like, oh, I gotta watch him. I don't know. I just kind of don't feel there's that energy that messes up the field because that authenticity is not there. So I really enjoy that. That is really a good point to bring up. So, what's on the horizon for you in 2021? Talk to us about some of your big goals or what that's looking like this year.
2021 is going to be a year of getting in better health, better mindset, always improving there. Uh, Seeing my wife grow the Leah Real Estate Company, watching our 11-year-old daughter continue to grow and hopefully more activities with community and her own friends,
Mhm,
enjoying the boat out in the lake up in New Hampshire where we spend our
mhm,
summers, and helping people in the send out card community as an example. Teaching them there is a better way. We're launching this product, a better way, in the next couple of days, and there is a better way to live, and that is the the card and the gift that's unexpected, that can change a person's, wherewithal, can change a person's mindset, can stop them from doing something they will regret, and teach them to do something that they will be thankful for. We have one life to live. And looking back at it, you can say, yeah, what you're doing, I helped thousands of people celebrate lives better by using this system. I helped thousands of people sell and buy real estate in a less salesperson-y way. I helped my daughter become a great business person, entrepreneur early if she chooses, because of the tools that are afforded to us. I support my wife who wants to be the entrepreneurial woman empire that she leans towards. And that would be a good, yeah, that'd be a very good year.
That is so awesome. And as you're talking about that, it just so often we say, I want a better world. I want a
Mm.
better place. And what I have learned during this time with this global pandemic is that, I have in a lot of ways created that world for myself because, I don't watch the news, and people say, it's like you live in a bubble, but I just choose to say, I have a different world. I can create the world I want. So I
That's
love
right.
the things that you're saying because, the only reason why we don't have a lot of these things is one, we're not intentional. And then we don't believe in it enough to actually bring it into life and create an environment for it to thrive and actually manifest. So that is some great insight. Love that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep. So I challenge everybody that if something Jay said resonated with you, reach out to him and just connect with him on social media because I think there is so much that we take for granted. When people give you value, it gets kind of lost in the shuffle with all the lot of things that people promise and promote, and there is no follow through or anything like that. So when you find someone that resonates with you, reach out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a phone call, with sending someone a Facebook message or sending them something on LinkedIn. So often we kind of don't know how to reach out when we find the person that resonates with us. So, what is the best way that you would say people should get a hold of you, Jay?
Easy enough just to Google Jay McHugh, but you'll find me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. My email address, if you're listening, I'll go slow. Boston, we talk fast. JAY at JAYMCHUGH.com. And I'd love to, spend a Zoom call, Google Meet call, anything just to inspire people. And I do get joy out of when I get, say, your audience reaching out to me just to introduce themselves and say, thanks, I appreciate that nugget. Can you explain a little bit more of what you were talking about? I mean, that means people are listening, which is great.
Right.
And then people are interested in applying it, which is even greater because your audience, they'll be the America's Supermom, or they'll be a Jay McHugh, and they'll be helping others because that's how I feel. Is that I have been in self development probably since I was 23 years of age. I was a very good athlete. Soccer was my number one sport, and became a coach. And then just love giving back or coaching and seeing people have their success. Maybe that's selfish, maybe it's unselfish. I don't even care what people might deem it. But
Mhm.
giving back and seeing other people succeed is at times more joyful than the money you receive. I have this quote that people say, "Oh, you don't want to be the richest man in the cemetery." I said, I have one that's worse. You don't want to be the richest man in the world on an island in the South Pacific that you can't share your riches with.
Mhm.
That's
That's good.
powerful. That's
Yeah.
profound. Therefore, as I say to people, if you still have your first communion money, your first confirmation money, your bar mitzvah money, get it out. Get it out into the universe. Get it out to a charity. There's no reason to be saving. It's better to be giving and investing and using. Sure, savings. I don't want to get Dave Ramsey's folks all confused. Sure, you have to saving,
You're right.
but it's the investing that
Mhm.
makes the world go round. It's the
Mhm.
improvement, whether it's getting in the gym, joining a boxing club, getting on better foods, going to Whole Foods and getting better foods in your system. It's that rather than just trying to consume the most and then look back at it and say, I lived a pretty average, poor health life and I'm gone. And therefore, I enjoy what send out cards gives us an opportunity to. I'll give you a little tip that frolicking flower, I love it.
Mhm.
But chance, I think it's one that gives a gift that's tangible and it has that smile. And when the sun hits it, it you, it works. And when the sun's gone and it's been cloudy, it sits there. And you
Mhm.
can see when the sun is making it up and down, a frolicking flower, guess what? It puts smiles on people's faces. And I tell them to put it in the car or put it in the kitchen windowsill because that's when you're going to see it. And you're going to see it and you're going to say, I love that little gift that America's Supermom gave me a couple months ago. And
Mhm.
each time I see that, I'm thinking of my friend Joy from Pennsylvania who gave me that gift. Look at,
Mhm.
I'm talking about her.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So true. And, you bring up good points because, it's that ability to rise above the noise, to
Hmm.
stand out.
Hmm.
That's one of the things that you're able to do when you take a few moments to send a card, and the fact that it can be customized with pictures and
Hmm.
turned into refrigerator magnets like you've shown me through the ones that you've sent to me. So I think it really is a great point that you bring up, and just thinking about how can you rise above the fray, but doing what you do already and doing it well.
Hmm.
Practicing your own way to be a Tiger Woods in your
Hmm.
business.
Hmm.
Nobody's asking you to reinvent the wheel to do something totally different. Just step up your game, just 10x it in something that you're doing every day. If you're doing it every day, why not be successful at it? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a very good, profound lesson that you're teaching us today. And even going back to what you said about used to be a coach for soccer and, the things that you've done, this is where a lot of people are. They don't know how to transfer their gifts into different vocations. And so that's another thing that I would challenge them to listen to what you're saying about and reach out, because you can't get stagnant of thinking there's only one way to use that skill. Something like you said with real estate, for example. If you're a realtor, you could blog about your career, and with that blog, you can attach ads to it with people who have furniture,
Hmm.
right? Furniture that goes into houses that, but because you have that as an ad around your blog and it's related to your industry, you could still be making passive income.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Lots of
yeah.
different vehicles. If
Mhm.
people get away from the noise and start
Mhm.
applying, they'll start to see minuscule results that will turn into good results and then potentially 10x results. But you got to start. You got to start.
So true. Well, I just want to thank you so much, Jay, and looking forward to spending some time with you this weekend. We do have our launch, as you mentioned. So, for any of you who are like, "Hey, I need to get started. I need a another form of income," because having one is not going to do it for you. At least in our household, we have 15 kids, but not all of them still at home. But still, we have 8 of them doing e-learning. So you guys just imagine that visual. So you have to have multiple streams of income. So, you know, follow if what Jay said resonated with you, follow Jay, follow me about this opportunity, because you don't want to make a decision to participate or not participate when you don't have the information, you
Correct.
know?
Correct.
So thank you so much, Jay. And thank you all so much for watching. And we will see you all on the next episode. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.